God's spoken a ton of things into my life this year, and I think one of the things that He's really kind of confirmed and impressed in my heart is the desire to help victims of human trafficking. And I'm not sure what that totally looks like yet or how that's gonna pan out, but I'm really excited to see what He has there and how that's gonna look.
Since starting Cplc, I think God's really made it clear that I'm made for ministry. I think if any of us weren't made for ministry, we would have baked out by now and dropped it just because of the load that we carry this semester.
10 years from now, if I'm looking back on Cplc, I think I'll remember the rebuilding that took place. The moments where God stepped in and totally began to put together the pieces of my life that were broken. And
I think the biggest thing that God did in my heart these past 9 months was just really solidify my calling. For the longest time since I've been called into youth ministry, I've really been scared of that calling, so I've tried to run from it and tried to hide a little bit from it. And just this year, God has really shown me that that's exactly what He has for me to do, and really gotten me excited about it.
One of the things God has spoken to me this year has been love the unlovable, and that has been probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to hear from Him. I feel like God has been preparing me this whole year by just pouring love into me so I can pour out onto others. I'm excited and scared for that to happen, but I am excited to see what God will do with it.
The biggest impact of the worship track for me was leading the Edge. It was amazing to work with youth and worship at the same time and to see those kids worshiping God with all they have.
I think one of the biggest takeaways from CPLC is when Diana came and talked about leading from the middle. Being a CPLC student, you're leading a lot in a lot of different ministries and areas, but you don't really have a title, so you don't really know what's going on. That kind of motivated me to do my best and just to have more of a servant heart for where I was at and whatever I was doing.
One of the most impactful things was, I think, being on the travel team, but to see people just going after God with all their heart and seeing them experience Jesus and watching the looks on their faces has just been a really awesome experience.
One of the most impactful things that has struck me this year in CPLC was probably learning the importance of people's stories. After several afternoons editing these testimonies, you just get the opportunity to see all this pain and hurt in these people's faces, and then you see it all lifted away by the love and the redemption that God has brought them, and it's just an amazing experience that I'm privileged and honored to be a part of.
There were days when I was just super tired or just didn't want to do anything, but God really kept me going by just reminding me of what my calling is and about the job that I have to do. Just really just digging into God and remembering that I'm here for a reason, that there's so many people in the world, and He's chosen me to be a part of the 7 that are here graduating.
The thing that kept me going when CPLC got tough was people speaking into my life, mentors and my friends all around me. Another thing that kept me going was morning prayer, just an hour to spend time with God and focus on His Word.
One of the most challenging things I've experienced since starting CPLC is just having a really tight schedule and just being busy all the time and always having a place that I needed to be. And it was hard for me because I really like my alone time and my resting time, but it just forced me to kind of put things in perspective and set my priorities straight and learn how to manage my time better.
My advice for next year's CPLC class would be to not read a lot of books during the summer so they get their fill when they come. Just maintain a balance in their life. We spend a lot of hours here doing ministry, and it's all good, but it's really important to maintain relationships outside of ministry and just keeping a good balance in their life.
If I had any advice for next year's students in CPLC, I would say just be open to change. There's so many people willing to pour into you, and if you're just open to do whatever it takes to become a better you and what God wants you to be, then they'll take you there.
Now that CPLC is over, I'm really looking forward to just starting life and doing life with my wife, finding a job as a youth pastor and with buying a home and starting a family soon. I'm excited even to just wait in His presence until He tells us otherwise.